Hello, everyone. Today on our Tuesday Facebook Live series, we are going to talk about core stability. I am Dr. Jeanette DeWitt with DeWitt Physical Therapy and Wellness. I am a physical therapist, an athletic trainer, and a fitness coach. And a lot of people want to know about how to improve their core strength, how to prevent back injuries, and how to just strengthen their abdominals all around. So that's what we're going to talk a little bit today about. We're going to talk about first learning what makes up your core stabilization system. And we actually have two core stabilization systems. And most people really aren't aware of all the muscles that go involved in making your abdominals and making your trunk stable. So this information is based on the National Academy of Sports Medicine through their certified personal training program. I am also a certified personal trainer through the NASM, and we are going to talk first about the local stabilization system. Now, what muscles are in your local stabilization system? There's actually 5 muscles. What we start with is the diaphragm, and that's the top portion of your core when we talk about the local core stabilization system. The bottom part of that is your pelvic floor muscles, a critical component to your core stability. Without a strong pelvic floor, guess what? You are incontinent, and nobody wants to have that embarrassing moment. So incontinence is controlled by your pelvic floor. Your breathing is controlled by your diaphragm. Then we have your transverse abdominis muscle. And this muscle is the lower abdominal muscle. And that acts as your body's natural weight belt. It's in the front, and on the same nerve loop in the back is the multifidi muscle at each level of your spine. The reason that's important is because your transverse abdominis, which is in the front, and your multifidi, which are in your back, when those contract, they create compression and a stability within your spinal column. So you get that compression from the front, the compression from the back, and then you have the compression from the pelvic floor underneath, and then you have your diaphragm sitting on top, and one more muscle gets involved. It's your internal oblique abdominals. Those muscles run like this. So they run from your pelvis to your rib cage, and they also provide stability. Now, what is the purpose of the intrinsic or the local core stabilization system? These muscles prevent shearing forces across the spine, and they allow you to be stable, to be strong, so that your spine is supported. Now, let's also take a look at the global stabilization system. These are muscles that are crossing from the pelvis to the spine compared to the local core stabilization system. Those are directly connecting to the vertebrae of the spine. Now, the global stabilization system is a lot more muscles, and they're bigger muscles. These are your quadratus lumborum back muscles right through here. And then you also have the psoas major, which is actually a hip flexor. It allows you to bring your hip up. But the psoas major attaches to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all 5 lumbar vertebrae in your low back. The next, we have the external oblique. So the external oblique muscles run this way. So remember, in the local core stabilization system, you had the internal oblique, and then now in the global stabilization system, you have the external oblique. So they're crossing over each other. Then you also have the rectus abdominis. That allows you to do sit-ups. And it's what most people think of when they think of abdominals. They think of that 6-pack, or actually an 8-pack. So that's the rectus abdominis. That's that strong movement of bending forward or crunching and doing a sit-up. Next, we have the gluteus medius muscle. The gluteus medius muscle runs on the side here. Kind of think of the back pocket. And that's a hip stabilizing muscle, but it also helps to stabilize your core. And then we have all the muscles associated with the adductor complex. These muscles are your adductor magnus, adductor longus, adductor brevis, the pectineus, and the gracilis. Now, I'm not going to give you an anatomy test at the end of today's class, but I'm just really making you aware of how many muscles are actually involved in core stability. A lot of people use core stabilization exercises. They've kind of become a fad, but people aren't doing them correctly. And when they don't do them correctly, they are at risk for hurting their back. And that's what I see them in my office. So I'm trying to teach you because I want to see you in my office for prevention of injuries or to improve your fitness, not because you're hurt and you can't do what you want to do. So, like I said, we have the local stability system and then the global stability system. Now, when we look at what 2 exercises do we absolutely have to do before we can do any other exercise, what that means is before you can bench press, before you can do a row or a lat pull down, you need to be working your core correctly so that your back is stable when you do other exercises or cardiovascular exercise such as running, biking, swimming. Your core muscles need to know how to kick in to support you and how to work efficiently so that you don't run out of gas and then at the end of your workout don't have your stability system in place. So the 2 key exercises that I teach people are a navel to spine exercise and a pelvic floor exercise. This is going to set your body up to succeed regardless of the activities that you are doing. So the first thing I do is I actually have people lay down and do diaphragmatic breathing. When you are doing diaphragmatic breathing, you are inhaling, filling your belly, so your belly goes out, and when you're exhaling or forcing out the air and your belly comes in. So the way that looks is this. Inhale, belly out. Exhale, belly in. Inhale, belly out. Exhale, belly in. When we add the navel to spine part to that, you're going to draw your belly button in with the exhale. So it'll look like this. When you inhale, the belly goes out, and then when you exhale, the belly goes in, but I'm sinking deeper. It looks like I'm sinking deeper because now I'm contracting my abdominal muscles to draw the belly button in. So if I just breathe normally, you can barely tell that I'm doing a navel to spine. And usually I put my hand on the belly or I find the hip bone and I come in a little bit, and you can do that at home too. When you breathe out and bring that belly button in, you should feel a muscle contraction right under your fingertips. So again, you find your front hip bone, you slide your 2 fingers in, breathe in, belly goes out, exhale, belly goes in with navel to spine, and you should feel yourself contracting. Now, when we add a pelvic floor contraction with that, you're going to contract your pelvic floor as if you're lifting up, or if you're trying, like if you were trying to go to the bathroom, you would try and stop urine flow. That's how you know that you're correctly activating the pelvic floor muscles. So you combine that with the navel to spine. So you breathe in and the belly goes up or out, and then you exhale, belly goes in, contract navel to spine with the pelvic floor. Now sometimes people have trouble with that, especially with the pelvic floor. So I'm going to show you another way Let me move around here. You can use a chair or an exercise ball. I like the exercise ball because any uneven surface is going to kick in your core muscles automatically. So it's a great way to work a little bit harder, but not notice too much of a difference. If you don't have an exercise ball, you can use a chair without back support. So you want to sit forward with your knees at 90 degrees and your ankle and feet at 90 degrees. In fact, I'll sit to the side to show you this. So again, we do the navel to spine with our diaphragmatic breathing. So belly's out. When we inhale, contract the abs, belly goes in. Inhale, exhale, navel to spine. Inhale, exhale, navel to spine. I would start someone with about 10 reps of that, just to start to kick in the navel to spine. Then we would add to it by lifting up on the pelvic floor. When you're sitting on a ball, you should feel yourself and your pelvic floor area actually lift up off the ball. And that's how you can know that you're doing it correctly. So it would look like this. Inhale, belly goes out. Exhale, navel to spine and pelvic floor at the same time. The reason that these two exercises are so important is because they stabilize your spine and to prepare you to be able to move. Your big muscles, your arms, your legs, they are meant for movement. They're not meant for stability. So what happens is if you are not correctly contracting your transverse abdominis and your pelvic floor, as well as the internal oblique, multifidi, and using your diaphragm more efficiently, then your core is kind of unprotected. So your joints have to stabilize you and move you. And they're not intended to do that. They're intended to move you, propel you forward, or reach. And if your core is not working properly, then the other muscles have to do more work, and that sets you up for risk of injury, especially in the hip and the back and in the joints and other joints of your body. So really, that navel to spine with the pelvic floor contraction is a key, two key exercises that you can do before you do anything. And so let's take that into like a fitness workout or an exercise program. When you are doing a chest press, so what you should be doing is you inhale, and when you exhale, navel to spine with pelvic floor, as you're pushing and doing the work, and then inhale and relax. Here's the key though. I teach it with the inhale and exhale. You actually need to maintain, once you get good at it, you need to maintain that navel to spine and the pelvic floor contraction through the entire movement while you're breathing. A lot of coordination, which I see a lot in my office where people aren't coordinating that very well. And that's why they're seeing me, is because they're hurting and they're overcompensating for not being able to be stable. I hope this helps because it's a key reason why people get hurt in the gym, why athletes get hurt. I actually had a marathoner one time, and she was seeing me for multiple things. A lot of chronic, overuse, repetitive injuries from basically overtraining. And I had her do a stretch, a simple stretch where she was kneeling, and she fell over. And that was her problem. She didn't have the core strength to maintain an upright position in a kneeling position. This was a pretty fast, solid marathoner, a very elite marathoner runner. And I said, no wonder you're having ankle problems, hip problems, knee problems on both sides of your legs, is because you cannot keep yourself upright just in a kneeling position. So you can see even on a high level athlete, if their core is not strong, they're going to break down and they're going to get hurt. I hope this helps. Try those 2 exercises at home. If you have any type of pain, please stop the exercise and either contact me. I'm happy to help you and walk you through it, or contact another healthcare practitioner in your area so that you can learn how to do these exercises correctly. It usually takes a few days, if not a couple weeks, to get these exercises down pat, where your brain is memorized the correct way to use those muscles. A lot of what we do in physical therapy, a lot of what we do with athletic training and fitness training is teaching the brain how to tell the muscles what to do correctly so that you're less likely to get hurt. I'm Dr. Jeanette DeWitt. If you have any questions for me, I look forward to seeing those in the chat. And you can also contact me at 262-842-2220 or Jeanette@DeWittPTWellness.com. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your day.